Okay, this is Greg Harmon, deceleration dot news. I wanted to hustle a little bit today. We hadn't planned a broadcast. In fact, we were just been messing around a little bit with, going through some surveys lately. We've been, with the pandemic and everything here in San Antonio, Texas. We closed up. We came home, and we've been here, right? And started broadcasting. One of the first places we turned because we wanted to make sure to do our bit, a little bit, to help maintain the integrity of our communities, our social structures, our relationships, and be a reminder that we continue to hold power in our community, in our country, and encourage folks in good ways and in good directions. Um, but I did want to get something up here today. Folks were telling us we had about 33 or so surveys we'd been sending out to some friends that were saying, hey, here's some of the things I want you to cover, and these days are the best, for the broadcasts, and here's for the website. And I guess we still have it open down here in the little crawler at the bottom. There's a link to that survey as well if we're kind of closing it out and assessing it. And so, like I said, we're looking at days, times, maybe just making this a weekly broadcast. But a couple things caught our attention, and one of those is this a vigil tomorrow at Travis Park. It's a Justice for George Floyd Vigil, and if folks haven't been paying attention, this was yet one more black man killed by police in broad daylight, as folks have been calling it rightly, another public lynching. And we've had these experiences in San Antonio. We're not immune here. But I wanted to get in touch with the organizers. I was particularly struck in that this was, and as we talk about in our interview, the first big kind of in-person, personal, back into physical space reopening of activism, if you would. There's been other forms of organizing, and so I wanted to talk about that, and especially, and also, there's over 1,000 people right now that I think that have RSVP'd on this Facebook event, which is really a rarity in San Antonio. So if you're watching, if you're on, I know we just got a few eyeballs here. We're streaming. We should be streaming on Facebook and on YouTube and on Twitter right now through Periscope, I guess it is. Type me a note. Let me know that you're there, that you're catching this from those different media channels. We're trying to get a little more deft at our game here. But like I said, for folks who haven't been paying attention, I think the 3rd police precinct in Minneapolis is on fire right now. That's the last I saw on Facebook. But for a quick background, I just grabbed this Guardian kind of summation of where we are right now. So let me roll that, and then I've got interviews with both Mars and Canoutli of the autonomous Brown Beret de San Anto, and so we've got a conversation going. I think is good to check out information about the gathering, the vigil tomorrow, and then I talk with a neighbor over here on the west side of San Antonio who has been assisting their neighbors. Whose son was just thrown down in the street, multiple, again, this is the same story, kicked 3 or 4 cops on top of them into the hospital, into jail, and lucky to be alive themselves. So I have an interview with the family of this man, and Mr. Ortega, and I want to share that in a little bit. But first, here's the update from the Guardian. Yeah, so anyway, like I said, I checked in with the organizers of tomorrow's vigil, Mars and Canoutli. I've got a link in the comments if you haven't stumbled across this yet. It's at Travis Park, 5 o'clock. I want to roll into that interview. I've got a couple other interviews, and hopefully even I saw Maria Turvin of Yanawana Herbolarios lurking somewhere in the shadows. I've got an interview with her as well that hopefully we can bring that out. Like I said, this wasn't we didn't intend to go live tonight, but I wanted to do a little bit, boost a little bit into the vigil tomorrow, and hope folks will come out in honor of this live lost and another community torn apart in this continued war on Black lives. And so this is, oh boy, this was just earlier tonight, Mars and Canoutley. Check it out. You know, this event is the first one that I've seen. I've seen car caravans and obviously online actions and all that kind of stuff. But this is the first, really in person, this vigil gathering of this sort. And I was not surprised, that it's as popular as it is. But I'm wondering what, as the organizers, what that's meant to you and how you're able to respond.
Something like this, needed to be done in person.
Mm-hmm.
Tragedy that's taken place, that's been taking place for our Black friends, relatives, and everything. It's too tragic to do a carbo, and we understand that people can't make it out due to COVID and things of that nature, which is totally understandable. Nobody's asking to put themselves at risk to come out to this protest, but if you do want to come out, we are asking that you wear a mask at all times. Mm-hmm. Even if you get to the point where you want to speak or you feel a little out of breath or whatever, if you need to take a drink of water, mm-hmm. Lower it up. Mm-hmm. We want to have voices heard, but we also want to protect our community, not trying to be reckless about getting out there and having our voices heard.
Mm-hmm. And we should mention just the details, like what I guess I'll ask first. People, I guess the motivation, what led you to take that next step to organize the action, because it doesn't happen every time, right? There are kind of these moments where people step beyond and put in the effort to ground something like this. So how you made the decision to go ahead with this particular action and let people know the details of where to come and how to show up.
Well, I think that first of all, we would expect it to take off the way it did. We've done other actions for other people in the community that have suffered at the hands of. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we get a decent turnout. Sometimes it's just us. Mm-hmm. But we always like to stand in solidarity with them, even if it's just 3 of us doing something. We always try to do something. Mm-hmm. So we weren't expecting this big of a crowd or attention to be drawn to this event. We're kind of expecting it to be us and maybe a couple of other people. Mm-hmm. But I think what is driving this is that people are really sick and tired. I mean, it's just, and it's frequent now. And the climate that we're living in right now with racism and all these injustices, I think it's just got to a point where it's just too much. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, and it's being, they're trying to desensitize us to it. People aren't being desensitized to it. Yeah. They're being upset about it, infuriated, pissed off, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And I think they're just sick and tired of it. So, yeah. It's too many of these things are happening back to back. Mm-hmm. And we're able to witness them firsthand through our devices, mm-hmm. Computers, mobile phones, whatever. And it's just tragic,
Yeah, like you said, San Antonio is not immune, right? And we have body counts here, like other big city, like any other part of the country. And I know, I think one of your speakers tomorrow may be the mother of Marquise Jones. I'm wondering, that was 2014. I've got a video I'm sharing on the broadcast tonight of police filing on someone, and he's lucky to be alive, honestly. But wow. Have you seen things change here in recent years?
I
Well,
feel
I'll
like
let Natalie talk, but I want to make a correction. Jones, the mom of Marquise Jones, that's his aunt.
His aunt.
But she's really, yeah, she's been really very, very involved in justice for Marquise. So.
Okay. Thank you for that. Has there been networking outside of San Antonio, like with Black Lives Matter, national or other police accountability groups?
That'd be something that Deb would have to. We support her.
Okay.
that we've seen beyond the local level.
So in what ways can folks support? Like you said, a lot of folks, may their heart are this. They're watching what everyone else is watching. They want to support, but showing up isn't really an option for them. What are you asking folks to bring that case?
In a material way, we're very grateful for a lot of donations we've received to our organization today.
Mm-hmm.
That we're look towards putting to support the families who have been lost to this police violence and murder. Just looking recently, a little while ago, I saw there are 2 GoFundMe accounts. One of them is Legal Aid for Protesters in Minnesota GoFundMe account,
Yeah.
and that actually at just under their goal, about $5 shy of their goal of $5,000 raised to support those protectors, those allies who are out there in Minneapolis right now. That's not enough, and we demand something better for the community. The second one I noticed is there is an official GoFundMe account for George Floyd's family. It's the George Floyd official memorial account on GoFundMe.
Okay.
And that account is sitting at a whopping $2.7 million of their original stable of $1.5 million. Those are 2 very material ways that people who, for whatever reason, don't find a way out to a demonstration tomorrow or otherwise. I'd say also, just in a general way, I feel like there's a general feeling of just being fed up. And I think people who aren't directly impacted by this violence are asking those same kind of questions. What can I do? How can I be an ally? What can I do? And I feel like nothing else, it starts with addressing the pyramid of white supremacy and its behaviors and its violence very base.
Mm-hmm.
It starts with just refusing. It starts with just saying, I'm not gonna laugh at my uncle's racist jokes anymore.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or and filming the police.
Right.
There are people who are out there who are taking that step to just say,
yeah,
just have that spider sense, I guess, in the back of your neck when you see a vehicle stop.
Yeah.
To just say, is that person safe?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I agree with that. Here on a local level, you can also drop off donations of water, whole oranges, granola bars for the vigil tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Bring your sign, bring your candles. We do have a Venmo account that we are taking monetary donation also.
Okay.
That we're going to be using to buy supplies. We're trying some masks for people in case they don't show up with a mask. We can hand them out, buy water, whatever it is that we need. So those are some other ways here locally that you can support our efforts in this.
Great. And we'll put that information up. We'll do an overlay on the screen with your Venmo if we can get that information from you. And again, this is the Travis Park. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Down San Antonio. What's the times there?
5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, and then we're finalizing details as to who's going to speak when, what kind of music and chanting, etc.
Okay. Okay, great. Anything that we covered?
Yeah, I'd like to see that we are, our organization does have Black members in it. We've had some heat here in the last couple of days because we don't have a lot of Black organizations in San Antonio that are active right now, and that's fine. We are making this about Black lives, 100%. We want to make very, very clear to anyone questioning our intention. This is not only for George Floyd. This is for Charles Ramsey. This is for Mark Jones. This is for Brianna. This is for everybody that at the hands of police brutality. But we really want to make that very. This is about Black lives. This vigil, this rally is about Black lives, 100%.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for that, and thank you. And it's been a busy few days responding to the amount, this overwhelming interest. Right now, I mean, I looked like there's, I don't know, 1,000 folks who are planning to show up tomorrow. All safety, well-being, and with a lot of gratitude for your commitment. All those who come out and those who support for business as well. So, thank you for being tonight. Yeah. So, just to emphasize, there's a lot of chatter out there, a lot of interest. Obviously, this is a nonviolent vigil, so signs, candles, practice distancing. Very, very serious that you keep your mask on. And as you heard Mar say, if you are thirsty, step over, get a drink, mask back up, because this is, while it is risky coming together like this, it's something I think people are feeling called to do. A lot of people are, but we also need to continue to the full extent of our abilities to protect one another, protect our communities, and that's the spirit that folks are gathering in. And so I want to shift a little bit. You can see in the comment stream, there's a link to the Facebook event. If you haven't found that yet, it's down there. The legal aid assistance for those up in Minneapolis is down there. The George Floyd family account GoFundMe is down there. But I want to shift over. A friend of mine contacted me this week, I guess, and I was like, we can't do it, whatever it is, we can't do it. But they convinced us otherwise. So this is, I just want to share, this is a arrest video from, I believe this is Saturday, and a brief conversation with the family of the victim. And they are particularly looking, I think there is a volunteer attorney on call for the event tomorrow, should there be any problems. But this family also, if a lot of y'all know, if you aren't carrying heavy pockets, you're not going to get justice unless someone kind of rides in. So again, I'm going to share the arrest video or a minute or so of it. It's going to look familiar to many of you, and then a brief conversation with the Ortega family of Westside San Antonio.
He's not resisting! He's not resisting! Steven, don't fight! Pick him up! Pick him up! Get your gun away from me! Get away! Get off of him! He can't get up! What are y'all doing? Let go of me! He can't get up! He can't get up! He can't get up! Get off of him! He can't breathe! I'm right here! I know he can't breathe! Get back! No, he can't breathe! He's screaming! Get back!
Supposedly shooting his gun and driving up and down the street.
Mm-hmm.
Steven drives up and down the street because he's always working on his truck.
Right.
But he wasn't shooting no gun. He's always driving up and down. Like, everybody knows that that's Steven. So all these cops came on the 18th of this month. They had helicopters. They had the streets blocked off. They did come up to him with guns in their hands, talking about I can't even recall exactly what they told him, but he did run. He ran because they had guns on him.
Yeah.
They never found him. They were outside our house for 2 hours? And they had the whole neighborhood blocked off. Like, every street was blocked off.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have no gun. He had a tool in his hand. He was working on his truck.
Right.
But I know the cops put up to him with the gun. So then they never got him after. That was the 18th, and they arrested him, Monday? this past Monday, Saturday, well, whatever day. But since then, they've been driving up and down. They've been following him in his car. Like, nobody pulled him over. So for say they're saying this was for a warrant that they did this to him, but if it's for a family violence warrant, why would you not show and drag him out the car like that? If it's a warrant, you just, hey, you got a warrant, you're arrested, whatever. And they didn't represent him with a name. And they didn't tell him a name. They just came up and they said they knew who he was.
It looked a lot like, I mean, I heard you, I think, Ashley, I think, saying that he couldn't breathe. I mean, you're able to witness a lot, but the police kept you or pushed you back pretty far back. It looked like.
So on the video, you could see when I told the cop he can't breathe, and the cop told me, yeah, because he's yelling. And I was like, no, because y'all are hitting him. Because in the video, you could see them kicking him. They have two cops have their hands on the back of his neck.
Right.
You know, they're just all over him for this so-called family violence warrant. So the cops were just, you know, not caring. He even asked them for water in some time of the video, and they ignored him. You can see him on one of the videos lives, I'm not too sure, him out of breath. He couldn't breathe. He couldn't catch his breath. He was all bloody. It's like, okay, so you're just going to let him die, basically. He's thirsty. You don't know what he did before, so he needs water. So, yeah.
And you said a family violence warrant. Was that something related to his dad, or is that the supposed gun situation? Or
it was very confusing. Afterward, they told his girlfriend it was a forfeiture of bond because he didn't show up at court March 6th, which would have been when the courts were closed due to the coronavirus. So I'm not sure. That doesn't make sense either. But right now he's in jail. He spent almost a day in the ER beforehand because of all the injuries. And now he's in jail and he's suffering from a fractured eye socket and a messed up wrist or ankle. And he's had his ankles were broken before.
what are you hearing about him right now? And I know one of the questions that came up is what can we do? Situations like this, it's usually to try even police for brutality. These kinds of allegations takes money, right? So a question, y'all are seeking representation.
Yeah, his girlfriend has been calling around first for bail, but that was impossible, and then for attorneys. But we've tried to look for like a civil rights attorney or something who would also be able to hold a criminal case, because right now he needs to get his needs addressed, and he's stuck in the jail until he can get something worked out. So there's a long-term issue and a short-term issue, and right now all of the attorneys want like a couple $3,000. So that's at a standstill right now.
Was there something else? I mean, was there another side to this where there was a welfare check early on, or a history around that? No. Okay.
I think so, right?
No.
Welfare check?
No.
I don't think he's had.
You don't even have
basically he don't exist on the outside world, on social media.
Yeah.
He's not even, he doesn't do nothing like that.
Yeah.
Doesn't work in his truck.
He's invisible.
Right.
So for him to be the person he is and to get treated like that, regardless of his issues or whatever the case may be, you don't have to mistreat any human, dog, or anything at all breathing that way.
Right.
They treated him worse than a dog. They jumped him. They beat him up. How did he end up from the passenger side of a car to the street? And there was blood on the street. I have footage of that as well.
I saw
and
that.
Then they just didn't care. So, no.
So I can put maybe a contact information or offer folks if they have recommendations or referrals for attorneys. Maybe that's one of the things that I'll just offer in the comments, or I'll put my email up for that invitation.
Okay, and then just pass it on to us.
Yeah, or I'll have it on the broadcast. Invite folks to the broadcast too. Is there anything else that you want folks to know about this case or anything else happening over there?
Maybe Alice could just talk about her concerns for her son right now, because
Yeah.
I know she's talked to me about that.
COVID in the jails. Yeah.
No, like,
Talk about your concerns for him in jail.
well, no, not today, but it's,
You aren't concerned?
no, he's gonna come home.
She's
No, he's coming home.
Okay. Okay.
all I have to say is always record when an incident is going on, because the cop was telling me that I wasn't on my property, which I was, and the cop was trying to check me. But just always record, because they could have hurt my brother, like worse than what they already did.
Yeah.
My
I saw
brother could have
that.
got killed in front of his
And
whole family, because we were all outside.
yeah, and the other thing that I really appreciate is that you knew who they were and you had their badge numbers and you referred to them by their badge numbers. So yeah.
They were actually the same cops that he on the 18th for the past incident when they tried to run after.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to be here again and for the coming, I know who you are. It's like, okay, what are you insinuating? Like, you feel some type of way about me and my family? Do I feel threatened? Like, what is it? What is the problem? If you have a problem with my brother, or if you have a warrant, come properly. Don't come disrespectful.
Yeah.
And that's what they were, just all of them.
Right.
So.
I heard that, and that felt felt like intimidation. Also, to say I know who you are. Right. It's
And he told me he was gonna arrest me. Okay, arrest me.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right out because you were in the wrong, 586,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank.
Alice had something. At least he had something more to say.
Okay, I'm really concerned because he's in jail right now. Okay, and I just want people to see him better as a person, and not mistreat him in there too. This is what's happening. I want everybody to find out about it. What's going on? What's happening?
Okay. Okay.
That's-
Well, thank you. Hopefully, this gets resolved soon, and you're able to find someone who can bring justice in this case.
We're gonna get justice regardless. Regardless, my goals are to get justice, because that's not my brother, somebody else's son, and they profiling us for whatever reason, and they want to be like that with us. That's fine, but you ain't gonna be like that and get away with it. That's it.
Mm-hmm. I had my volume. Thank you, Kamala. Um, wow, that was probably a good 10 minutes. Um, I was looking for another video clip that I wanted to share, essentially, but I did want to talk about, the Tuesday is when the JP, the courts, turned back on. They're going to start hearing eviction cases. And we know that that means we're going to see just a tidal wave in terms of displacement. But housing security, there's another side to this that I've been kind of working on, and that's around CPS Energy. They've paused the disconnections for non-payment, and in fact, their CEO has taken to saying that, well, that's just our normal policy as the heat of summer comes on or the cold of winter. One of my partners, my colleagues at the Sierra Club, filed an open records request for disconnection data, and what we found is that that's an absolutely a lie. That if you go back to, I was looking at this and we multiple years, I think since 2011 was to that point the hottest year on record in the United States happened in Texas. What we're experiencing here was worst drought in decades, worst wildfires in the state in memory. And they were shutting people's power off in the middle of that summer. They were shutting people's power off in 2018, 2019, 17, 16. And so what are the guarantees? And we don't have that information. But the other side of security around housing that I'm interested in is a program for energy efficiency. It's sounds real wonky, goes back a good 10 years. The community organized and said, we don't want you to build more power plants. We want you to conserve energy. We want you to tighten up homes, and make our community stronger in that way. So instead of building an 800 megawatt power plant, we're saving that much because we're saving our families money. We're investing in our homes at the utility level, from at the utility into the community. They are getting ready to do another 10-year plan. I think their plan is very, very modest from what I've heard. But if we really dig into that, and if we really push our council and push our mayor to commit to very lofty goals, we can see more resources flowing into our homes. We can see bills going down. We can see people's health improve because the air will clean. We can burn less coal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's this connects across the board with everything that's going on, that we refusing to return to the world that we had before and saying this is the direction. We've been fought off and pushed off for years now, but we can really make some headway here. And so Tuesday night, there'll be a town hall around this. So if you watch the deceleration events, Sierra Club events, there may be hopefully there's other co-sponsors of this. You can learn more about that. We'll be building out that campaign. Outside of that, I didn't have a lot. Like I said, this wasn't a scheduled broadcast, but I really do hope folks will to look, dial back at the event tomorrow. There's a tremendous amount of interest, and I wish you all very deep care. This is a non-violent vigil, and so from my heart to y'all, the best of wishes and for justice in our time. And I'll just roll out with this update. It's funny, the Brown Beret figure out into this closing segment too. We did a kind of like Marisol and myself were doing a lot of reflecting upon why we were maintaining the site, why we were growing the site, deceleration.news, and how we wanted to move this broadcast along. And so we created kind of like a visual, a short video that's on the top, our landing page on our site. And I'm going to close out this broadcast with it here, that kind of features the sort of work that we do and what our aspirations are. And if there's folks out there that catch this broadcast, go back. We've got 11 more now on the site. You can find top of the page, hit broadcast. We've been talking with housing justice organizers. We've been talking with folks around energy justice, of course. We've got a interview coming out real soon on the legal right, the argument for the legal rights for nature. And so we're looking at the local, we're looking at our place in the regional as well as the global. But again, like, so this little segment was a number of folks organized in opposition to a border security expo that was at the Henry B. Gonzalez Center sometime a few months back now, I guess. And there was a banner drop. There was a lot of good energy out there saying that this is not the community that hosts that: border surveillance, cages for children, family separation, third-party rendition. And now we're looking at Central America, the COVID cases filling up there because of our shipping children and families to countries that they've never been in, don't live in. So anyway, that's the backstory on this short video. And if anything about deceleration speaks to you, we've had a number of good folks who have come in on Patreon, said, hey, it's $5 a month. We would love to incorporate as a nonprofit. We'd love to be able to, look at, what kind of grants may be available, do some investigative work, hire out, multimedia folks, activists to kind of broaden out our work here. So that's out there. Check it out. And thank y'all for sticking with us, those that are still hanging on. Have a good night and a safe tomorrow.
I don't want to see SATX militarized. I don't want to see people under surveillance.
The school right now is how do you meet the learning needs of the students without everyone having the same access? And right now everybody doesn't have the same access.
Growing our own, like in our own spaces again, and that this is like a revamp of these traditional kind of like methods.
This has been a rookery, one of very few, possibly only 2 rookeries in the city of San Antonio.
Like I felt when I was touching the stratosphere last year, that this is our one planet, and this is what we've got.